Hello everyone, this is Jeff from Mid-Atlantic Craps and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about cruising and craps. As you know, I just did get back off of a week's vacation in which I played a lot of craps on a cruise with a group of people that I'm the only craps player. So it was an interesting cruise. We're going to recap that and talk about that, things that went wrong on the trip, things that went well on the trip, and we're going to talk about coming up on the next trip. Okay, so here we are back talking about cruising and craps, and we're going to get right into the trip report. It's going to go as follows. Carnival Pride out of Baltimore, my backyard, October 12th through the 18th, 2021. If you watch the 4 trip reports I did, this is going to be a condensed version of those and hopefully about a 20-minute stint. And then we're going to talk about some of my play and some of the things I encountered and some of the mistakes that I made that I will not repeat coming up as we repeat the cruise and the cruising with craps on December 5th of 2021. So real quick, let's get to some business. To everybody that has subscribed to me, I appreciate you hitting that red subscribe button, ringing that bell for future notifications. It would be greatly appreciated. Hey guys, before I went on vacation, I didn't realize I was going to have the internet connection that I had, and it turned out to be really good because I could do some trip reports, and I got to watch some of my favorite craps YouTubers continue in their series of ventures with what they do, and it was real nice to have a decent internet connection on the ship. But subscribers, before I left, I shot a video, said I was just approaching the 200 milestone on subscribers. Guys, to you, that's not a big deal. To me, it is. This whole process that you see here with the table and everything laid out beneath me has been a venture that started out as a hobby, from a practice standpoint of craps, into a hobby, into recording throws, into recording strategies, into this YouTube channel. While I was gone, we grew by over a third, and as of this morning, we had 285 subscribers, so I've almost made an impact of about a third more in subscribers. Guys, I want to show you this real quick here. Bear with me while I put this on the screen. You're going to see that what's on the screen now is going to show that 69.9% of my viewers are unsubscribed. They're not subscribed. The 30%, let me take a look, the 30.1% that is subscribe. Thank you very much. I appreciate you pressing that red subscribe button. But to the other almost 70% that isn't subscribed, hey, what are you guys waiting for? Come on, give me that red subscribe and help out. Help me out. It helps the channel grow. It helps the channel get more exposed. And anytime you're on one of your favorite craps YouTube channels or any of the gambling channels, or for whatever you're watching, because I'm actually going to talk about cruising YouTube channels here in a few minutes. Whatever it is, click that red subscribe. Doesn't cost a thing, doesn't hurt anything. It helps the YouTuber that's bringing you the content, and you should always be giving the thumbs up. And if you really don't like the video, give the thumbs down. It helps YouTube understand that these videos are being watched and gets the algorithms out so that more of our channels will be available to a whole wide variety of audience other than us that are already watching the craps channels. Okay, enough with that said. Let me clear that screen off the screen, and let's talk about the play. Hey, Carnival Pride, wonderful ship's been docked in Baltimore for 13 years. I've taken it 5 times. Last time was in 2015. They did a renovation. The renovation, to my surprise, was okay. There's a couple things they did with the renovation that I want to get into politics that kind of upset me, but it was a decent cruise. The renovations they did were nice. I'm going to talk about cruise pricing and craps on cruise lines here, but let's talk about the table in the casino. They rearranged the casino. They put the table in a horrible spot. They put the table in a place next to the wall that the way that the pit was made with all the blackjack and roulette tables and other miscellaneous gambling games, that people had to walk by you. So if you're like me and you lean into the table to throw your dice, you had to watch to make sure that people weren't walking side by side, because if they were, they bumped into you. And there was a couple times that I actually threw the dice and got bumped into and sevened out. And of course, I blame them, not the dice, but you know, it is what it is. But the table was located in a horrible spot. The table condition itself, the felt wasn't worn that much. Underneath it, no underlaminate. It was a very hard table. I even confirmed that with one of the dealers who said there's nothing underneath of it, but they use a slate particle board as their base, and it wasn't the birchwood or anything like that. And it's just the felt on top of the hard surface. The dice did have a tendency to bounce. It was a dark side or don't player's dream because the 7 outs came really, really fast. A lot of 7s. The dice were part of the problem. The dice were old. Every day I picked the dice up and looked at the serial number. It was the same the entire 7 days. I had 3 sessions a day for the most part. And the dice were always the same. They were rounded edges. They had no points. And when you let go of the dice, they had a tendency to roll a little more than what you expected to. It took me a couple days to get into the groove. I had some fantastic rolls. I had multiple rolls in the teens on the ship. The highest roll I had on the ship was a 31. The highest roll I had ever was 38. That was at the Atlantis. And I tried to play, like I said, 3 sessions a day. On the ship, they had the ATS, and they had an ATS bonus. The ATS plays like it normally does. They paid 30 to 1 and 150 to 1. I know on the West Coast it's 36 to 1 and 176 to 1 or something like that. But they did the 30 to 1 and 150 to 1 on the all, the tall, and the small. The 30 to 1 on the small and the tall, 150 to 1 on the all. Well, what they did is if you hit it, typically at a normal land-based casino where I am on the East Coast in the Mid-Atlantic area, they would give you your $62 back. I play a $5 ATS 212. Sometimes I play 555. But I played a $2 ATS, and I would hit one side, and they would give me $60. They would keep my $2 because the bonus side of their ATS was it rolled again. And you could add money on top of that, and that's what they wanted you to do. They wanted you to throw a couple more bucks out there. So, because they knew that you weren't going to hit it again. But what I didn't know until about day 3 is that if it hit again, whichever side that hit, they were paying 3 to 1 on the ATS. 90 to 1, guys, is what you would get paid on the ATS if it hit again. It never did. I did throw a couple bucks out there. I hit the all once, I hit the small twice, and I hit the tall 3 times during the week, and I was at the table when it got hit a couple other times by this gentleman I'm going to talk about that was an elderly gentleman throwing underhand. So let's talk about strategies that I played. And the strategies that I played that day were a variety of strategies, and one of my comments that was made during the early session, maybe like on Trip Report 2, one of my subscribers said, "Hey, your reports are not reflecting how you play here on the channel." And I beg to differ with that, but I think that I did, and I did play that way. Sorry for stammering there, but I was using a wide variety of strategies, including just a flat don't. My don't bet with the hybrid system, where I'll come out with whatever amount on the don't and match it with a hybrid system on place bets after the points established, with or without a hedge. I played that. That's standard my way. Because of recent weeks prior to going on vacation, I was able to work with a guy by the name of Whalen, which as of last night when I started watching channels, he's gotten the square pair group to do his 4 and 10. He's got John over at Pro Craps doing the 4 and 10. And before I left, the week before I left, I did several varieties of Whalen's. It's called the Whalen's Outside or the Whalen's Way. It's the Whalen 4, 5, 9, and 10. I did play that with and without a 6 and 8 place bet. We'll talk about that when we get to the table. I did play John at Pro Craps Hedgeless Horseman with a smaller bet. Started out with 15, wound up going to the quarter level. Worked wonderfully for the most part. I added the 6 and the 8 in there, and I'll talk about that when I get to the table. And I was doing a lot of practice sessions in the morning. My morning session would be $5 on either the pass or the don't pass, just so I could throw the dice. And I typically was doing 22 inside. And guys, I don't want to sound condescending here. Where I learned to play craps a few years ago, the tables were $15 minimum tables. During COVID, as high as $25 minimum tables. Fortunately, in my area, they've come back down to 10, and 15 is the smallest that I can find. So I took the $5 pass line, and then I would take $22 more, place it inside, and I would just practice my throws trying to get used to the table. To me, that $27 was entertainment value, and I probably shouldn't have looked at it that way because I'm not used to playing that low. I'm used to putting 15 on the pass line, then I'd have to go 66, inside or whatever I'm doing if I'm playing the light side. And so you can see that the math changed at that point. Sometimes I would do 44 inside. We'll talk about that as well. Plus, I played my 4 squeeze. It's a Mid-Atlantic 4 squeeze. It's a confusing strategy. It did work, and it worked great on this report. I did get burned a couple times, and we'll talk about that 4 squeeze. But what I want to tell you is it confused the hell out of the dealers. Because I'm the shooter. I'm placing 200 on the lay 4, and they take the vig up front. I was putting 40 on the hard 4 and turning it on, and then typically a $25 don't and $1 on the yo. Sometimes I put a $50 on the don't. You don't quite have everything covered if you do that. But I was putting a quarter on the don't and a penny, $1 on the yo 11 to kind of offset $1 or $2 to offset my $25 don't. Well, several times I played it that way, and I hit the hard 4 on the come out, and they took my hard. They didn't want to pay me, and they took the $200 lay down. And I had a bit of a disagreement with the dealer. Fortunately, the box lady that was there most, there was 2 people that were into box places. One lady's name was Chris, spelled with a K. The other guy was Ellison. Great pit people, great box people, because without them there, those dealers would have been lost. I said to Chris, Chris, I've done this now 5 times. I may have forgot to say turn the hard 4 on, but I'm turning the hard 4 on to protect that $200 lay. I said, come on, work with me here. And she said, pay the man. So I got paid my money on the hard 4, and it worked out. That same dealer, later in the week, I had a problem with, which I'll talk about here in just a little bit. So there are the table conditions, the strategies, my roles that I had. Let's go ahead and take day by day what happened. So on day 1, it was a good session. You board the ship. We set sail immediately after setting sail. We're still in the Chesapeake Bay. They opened up the casino. We went and had dinner. I went to the casino, and I bought in what I consider my first session, because I broke it down into AM sessions, afternoon sessions, and PM sessions, and late night sessions. Typically 3 sessions a day. So on day 1, I got to the tables. I bought in for 100, not really realizing what I was going to do and the condition of the table. I just wanted to throw the dice. And it was just me and this elderly gentleman there in his late 70s, if not the 80s, underhand throw, setting the dice, and he had several good rolls, and he always played 160 inside, turned himself on with no hedge, and he did get hit a couple times, but consistently throughout the week, that's what he played. He actually got to where he would play his 160 when I was shooting the dice, because he saw me setting the dice. Typically, I was using a series of dice, which I'll talk about here in a few minutes, for my rolls. But the session, I turned that 100 into 450, and I kind of said, wow, this is going to be a good session. So we went and saw a show, came back. I bought in for $600 for the nighttime session, which would be Sunday, day 1, and probably was too cocky, and I lost 400. So the 450 I won, I gave right back to him. The old guy was still there when I was playing, but I was $50 ahead for the first day, ish or so, with tips and stuff you don't know. Day 2, I did have a morning session, which once again I considered more or less practice. I shot from the left side this time. The right side of the table was closed. I had bought in for 200, turned that into almost 400. Then later on in the afternoon, I had a $200 session that I turned into 350. I said, all right, we're back on the way. That would be Monday night was a formal night where you get dressed up and so forth and so on, and you go to dinner and clothes that I didn't take with me. I've been on so many cruises, I don't do formal night. But when I got back to the table after the show, I think in my video I called it the James Bond night, because I felt like, hey, we're in this high classy casino. All these people are dressed up, whether you're at the craps table, the roulette table, blackjack table. Everybody looked good but me. I'm sitting there with a t-shirt on and shorts and flip-flops, and just went up to play. And I balled in for my nighttime session. During the session, I was up and down. I got into the Ravens game. Obviously, I'm from Maryland. That game, if you don't remember, was a very unique game. Lamar came to bring the team back to actually win in overtime. Incredible game. After that game was over with, I went back to the session. All in all, in the evening, I had about a 3-hour session, which is too long for me. I like to hit and get out. That's why I do 3 sessions. But I did a 3-hour session. The table remained mostly choppy and cold. It was a don't player or dark player's dream, and I turned my 16 into 1350. Wonderful. I'm off to a great start. I said, this cruise is going to be great. The people that I were with were like, wow, and you teach us how to play, so forth and so on. Well, come day 3, that came to an end pretty abruptly. Day 3 was not a good day at all. Day 3 would bring us into the I guess the last C day. And when I started out in the morning session, boom, lost $100 right away. Went and got breakfast. Went and hung out with the group on the deck. Came back for an afternoon session. No table open. Everything else in the casino is open. No table open. So I didn't have an afternoon session. My PM session, what I call my evening session, were all short rolls. My rolls were short. If I rolled past 6, I don't think I did. I was tired. I was not playing my game. I had this vacation mentality, which we'll talk about here in a bit, which I think really hurt me in the long run. And I lost $200. I think I cashed out 18 bucks. So for the day on day 3, I was down 300, but I was still up for the first couple days. Now we're pulling into Nassau in the Bahamas, and I'm going over to the Atlantis, and this is where it gets interesting. If you didn't watch that video, I'm going to put right up here, let's see if I get my finger right, here we go, I'm going to put right up here a link to a video that I didn't publish, but it is unlisted, so you can watch it if you want. I did a video from within the Atlantis because I was kind of disappointed at first, and I'll tell you why right now. But if you want to watch that video, scroll back to this time mark, which would be right around the 16-minute and mark, and you'll be able to find that link. I may put it at the end of the video as well. So we get to the Atlantis, and the group heads out. We're early, and I go see where they're set up in the water park and down the beach area. If you've never been to the Atlantis, it's very, very nice. And the website said 10 o'clock table games. No table games. Nobody in the casino. It is like nobody there. So I asked somebody that was walking through the casino, an employee, hey, what's going on here? And they said the casino opens at noon. I said, okay, great. I'll go back outside. Come back in 11:45. It's still the same condition. Stuck a $100 bill in one of those electronic roulette tables, the one that the actual wheel spun, not where it did it itself. And I was able to win $113 on one and $98 on the other ticket. And then I was going to give up and just go out because the group was going to leave in probably about an hour, hour and a half. As I'm walking out, this line of dealers come out like they do during shift change in a casino, and they set up. And to the Atlantis' praise, it took them about 20 minutes to do that because they disinfected everything. They had the machines with the misters and the spray, and they wiped everything down before they let us play. I was at the table by myself. I bought in for $600. There's a $10 table, no ATS, no fire bet, no bonuses, just straight craps. And I was, a little bit ahead when this guy, I was in the middle of a roll, and I keep track of my rolls and my chips by sliding white chips back and forth. And once I reach 5, I put a red chip over to keep track of how many times I've rolled. I do it on other shooters too. I was on roll 14, and I had just established a point of 10. And I wasn't on the don't, but I wish I had been, thinking that. When this guy comes up and he throws down this stack of $100 bills, the box man holds the dice, or stick man holds the dice, the box man takes the money, and they count out $5,000 in $100 bills. Okay, I know table etiquette. I'm on vacation. I'm okay with it. We're slowing down. I got off my rhythm. I was on roll number 14. Maybe the box man did it for that, so long as roll I had had so far. That guy buys in. I start rolling again. He's got... he comes out with a come bet of $75. He establishes a couple come bets with maximum odds, and boom, I 7 out. I cost him, $300 or $400 right off the bat. Another guy, a little younger than him, the first guy that bought him for $5K, I called him the $5K guy. He was 40-ish maybe, young 40s. This other guy was probably late 30s, had a girl with him, whether it was his wife or his girlfriend, I don't know. But he bought him for $2,000, stopped the game again. Goes around a couple times, we throw the dice, and I get to roll the dice again, and I have a 38 roller. And during this 38 roller, I would have hit the ATS, and I established and hit 5 points during this roll, which was incredible, no fire bet. And when the roll was over with, when I finally 7'd out, I was a stick left 1. This gentleman on the 5K guy, he was at stick right 1. He leans back behind the stick guy, and he does, that high fist, hey, good roll. And I, fist bumped him, and he reaches his other hand out. He said, here, this is for you. So I took it and looked down at it, and it's a $500 purple chip. And I said, what's this for? He said, man, you just made me 10K. Might be closer to 12. And I said, really? Well, I said, really, I don't need this. I appreciate it, but he said, no, 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 I insist you take it. So I said in the video I shot earlier in the week, I did the gentleman thing. Probably the gentleman thing would be say no, but I didn't. I kept the $500 chip, put it up on my rail, continued to roll. And the money that I had built myself up on that roll was probably about $330. I really wasn't betting on myself like I should have been. So all in all, that roll was a nice profitable roll. However, when I cashed out of the Atlantis, I did take my $600 with that gentleman's $500 tip. I kept the purple chip and I cashed out $1,125. So still positive for the day of $525. So that was the end of day 4. Went back to the Atlantis on day 4 and basically had a session at nighttime that was a negative session, and I wasn't playing like myself. Called it an early night. I was tired at that particular moment. So now we move on to day 5. Day 5 sessions, I was up and down for the day. I played 2 sessions again in the afternoon. They didn't have the table open for day 5. Nothing spectacular to talk about. I wound up somewhere between 375 and 400, so we're going to call it 485, because I was doing a lot of dealer tokes and tips, guys. I was playing for the dealers. I was tipping them, having a good time being on vacation. Remember, that's the 3rd time now I've said that, playing craps that I'm going to talk about here. And we move on to day 6. Day 6 and 7, not good. Day 6, I only had 2 sessions again because the table was closed in the afternoon. I was down for the day. We'll talk about the totals here in a second. And now let me move on to day 7, which was the worst day of all. Last day of the cruise. It's like, they say they reset things and they can make you lose because they've suckered you in like a carnival game, and now they're going to take all the money out. Well, day 7 was so horrible. I actually had 4 sessions that day. I actually quit playing at 11:30 at night, when I typically on a cruise would close the casino. I would close it and just go right to the room and then get up and go to, get off the ship and exit the ship. I quit at 11:30, and I got thinking about what happened. I'm going to talk about that here in just one second. I think I was on a vacation high from the profits that I had, and then the last 2 days it was bad. And I think my problem is I was having too good of a time. I was on vacation. I was in that vacation mentality and not in the money-making mentality of playing craps. And one of the other things I didn't do is I didn't regress enough or fast enough. And between day 6 and day 7, I lost $1,000. On day 6, I was down 400. On day 7, I was down 600. And that's when I said, enough is enough. I'm not giving it all back to them. I'm calling it a day. I'm going back to the cabin, packing my crap, getting off the ship. That'll be wonderful. So for the week's high, I was as high as $2,700 up. Never was below my starting money at any given time. Walked off the ship $1,045 ahead. Now, with that said, I think I made mistakes of being party time. I don't drink, and I was enjoying myself, not paying attention, not being myself, not playing myself, not using my typical table awareness, not being aware of my chips, and a whole slew of things that I'm not going to repeat on my next cruise. And so when you go on vacation, you're playing craps. It's okay to have fun, but when you're there at the craps table, guys, you really should pay attention to what's going on, because if you don't, you lose track of time, you lose track of rolls, you get talking, and the next thing you know, you're losing money, which is what happened to me the last couple of days that was there. Still a good trip, excellent trip. I am not paid by Carnival to promote them. As you know, they're not the most glamorous cruise line. They're probably the most kid-friendliest and glitzy cruise line there is, but I've cruised on the Pride so many times, it's in my backyard. It is actually moving from Baltimore to Tampa at the end of this month, and they're bringing the Carnival Legend in, and I'm going on the cruise, which is the next thing I want to talk about. I'm going on the cruise on the Legend on December 5th through December 12th at a Carnival. Now, guys, if you've cruised before and you've played in the casino and you're vaccinated, and you want to take a cheap vacation, call the Carnival, or call your cruise line. It doesn't have to be Carnival, whatever you use. I had a guy in my comments talk about he just got off a Norwegian cruise line, and I think he had the same deal that I had. They want you to cruise, and they're basically going to give you your room for port fees and taxes and the gratuity. So we cruised, my group cruise. My fee was under $500 for 2 people, 7 days, all the food, entertainment, and the drinks are on them while I'm playing in the casino. Every cruise line does that. So if you cruise with Carnival, it's called Premier. It's the Carnival Casino Club. Call their direct line, get hooked up with them, sign up for their programs, whatever it is that, however you get to it. Your offers are going to be, I guarantee you, $100 or less cruise rate per person, and then you got to pay the port fees and taxes, and then the mandatory gratuity. So my point to that is, I spoke earlier about YouTube channels. Here's the Craps channel. That's where we are today. We all subscribe to many of the big powerhouse Craps channels, and there are cruise channels the same way. One of the guys I watch the most, I've never met the gentleman. He's very entertaining when he brings you his delivery, and he can talk about where we stand in cruising. It's Tony at La Lita Loca Cruise Channel. Just YouTube in there, La Lita Loca Cruising. It'll pop up. Another guy I follow, his name is Don. I'm not sure if it's Don's Vacations or something along that. He's in Canada. He talks with that Canada accent. And those two guys will keep you informed what's happening in the cruise world. Vaccination. Guys, these cruise ships are vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, there's no need to even try to get on the cruise ship. If you are vaccinated, Carnival's has 100% crew vaccination. We did have to wear a mask, as you saw in my trip reports, inside the casino, outside on the Lido deck. When we were outside, we didn't have to wear a mask. In Freeport and in Nassau, we had to wear a mask all the time. In a taxi, out of the taxi, on the street, you had to wear it. In Princess Cay, it's a private island that's owned by the Princess Cruise Line, which Carnival owns, and you didn't have to wear a mask, except for on the tender ship. So we had 2 port stops where we could walk off the ship, one that we got tendered in. Weather was beautiful the entire time. I've cruised in December before to the Bahamas. A lot of you were thinking it's crazy, but I'm going again. My cruise rate, $289 a person, and this time they're giving me a balcony room. $289, 7 days, food, entertainment, and drinks on them. Guys, do the math on that. Hey, if you're looking for a cheap vacation, you're looking to do something before these rates go away, most of the Carnival, most of the cruise lines have extended their COVID protocols through February's bookings. Man, book these things now, guys. Even if you get it now and you get that rate to cruise in November of next year, they are cheap. So with that said, we're coming up on the 27 mark. I want to move over to the table real quick and talk about some of the strategies I played. So if you'll indulge me just a couple seconds, we'll move over here to the table. And some of the strategies that I played, I'm not going to do any rolling out here because where the time is involved. But to my subscriber, who actually watched me play and through the videos and commented I didn't play my way. I think I did. I just have $1,000 here, guys. It's just set up. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to do some simulation. So that one of the first things I just did while I was there each day is I was just putting 5 on the pass line or 5 on the don't pass. Sometimes I did a Dewey don't, which they did allow on the ship. And then if you established a point and you had a line out there, the dealers would remind you about your odds. You put 1 down, that's fine. If you put 5 down, they would say, oh no, it's just 2 times odds. So on the ship, it was just 2 times odds. So what I was doing when I would do this, let's say the 8 was established and I was doing my 22 inside, I would actually theoretically go ahead and place that point, because if the 8 hit, I'm going to get paid on the odds, but I'm also want to make a little more on that point. I would leave that money out there. Yes, I know that's only 20, it's not 22. But I would do the same thing with the 44 if I had $10 out here. I was doing the same thing. Now, on the Hedgeless Horseman, I started out with a $15 don't and a $15 come once the point was established, and I'd rotate out. I had great success with that. That's John over at Pro Craps channel. There's several YouTubers that have taken that that philosophy of expanding upon some variations with that. I'm going to show you at the quarter level what I did on the Hedgeless Horseman. Is you had a quarter on the don't, you would have the point established. I'd come out with the come. Let's say it was a 9, it moved to the 9. I'd come out with another come. If the 7 out came, this paid here, got paid there, break even. All right, next roll, points 5. No odds down here. Come out with a come. They roll a 6. That moves to the 6. Next one to come out, they roll a 9. It moves to 9. The 7 out comes. I would have one more come bet out there. This would pay down here. This would pay over here. Once again, as you see, it was a push. So what would happen is I would get, let's just say, 3 come progressions done, and very seldom would I get knocked off. Would I get knocked off all of those? It did happen where I lost $100. Either I lost it by hitting the point, losing this, or the 7 out came, and I would lose $50 or something along the line. So I played a variation of that, and what I was doing in that variation was, once the point was established, let's say it's a 9, I'd come out with my come bet, but I was placing the 6 and the 8 for the 18 dollars, and then, you know, if the point moved to the number moved to the 8, I'd get paid my $21. Come down, I'd put 10 in racket, come back out with my next come progression. If the 8 paid, you know, I would get paid flat 25. I get paid the 14 on the 10, and I would just take that would travel. I would just put that back out there. I only maintained 3 come progressions, and if I was to get paid, this was my 3rd come progression. Let's just hypothetically say, oops, wrong chip. Let's just hypothetically say we got that 5 place as well, and we hit the 8 again. This would travel. I'd get paid the quarter. Sorry guys, I got chips in my eye. I'd get paid the quarter. I would not come out with another come progression. I pretty well stayed with my 3 come progressions and kept it very routinely that way. So that was a dark side strategy that I played that maybe my subscriber didn't quite understand how I was playing, because he said I wasn't playing like I was playing, because I was talking a lot of times 22 and 44 inside. So let's talk about the 44 inside. I'm going to put 50 on the don't. I get a point established, and my 44 wouldn't be 44 this time, because it would have been 10, 20, 30 with the 4. There's 34 against 50. Typically, because it was a $5 table, I would go ahead and catch the 4 and 10. There you have your 44. So I got 44 against 50. So in my videos, when I was talking, maybe the subscriber thought that I wasn't playing the dark side. But when I said I would do 22 or 44 inside, it all depended on what I had on whichever line I had it on, is how I played. Guys, I'm going to tell you, when it's $5, the lower table, I found I was putting more money out because I thought it was cheap. Man, these numbers, these 4s and 10s weren't hitting. And I think that at a lower level, sometimes it actually is not to your benefit to play that low, because you find it so easy to put $10 more out each time. Let's say you go through 12 rolls and you're losing at $10 and never winning on it. Well, you know, there's $120 in losses that you could have saved by not placing it just because it was $5. So the last strategy that I really want to talk about, the Whalen's Way. Let's talk about that first. Let me look at the time. Okay, so we're past the 30-minute mark. I want to wrap this up with this. The Whalen's Way, I started out with $15, but the Whalen's Way on the that I played, which is buying the 4 and the 10, the 5 or the 9, and you're on. And I only played it when I was shooting using his set, which is a 5-6, 3-5. I had great success with it. Did I always win? No. But the Whalen's Way is you set your board up, you turn it on, you're always working. Let's just say the point became a 9 on the come out. So the 9, you get paid $35. You get paid $35. What I would do is I would cash that in, and I would actually just take it up $40 on 35, and then when I got hit again, I would regress back down, parlay in those chips back down. And for the most part, the first couple times I played this, the first couple days, it was excellent. It did not work for me at the Atlantis, but it did work on the ship. It was my go-to strategy when the table became going towards the hot side again. When it was choppy and cold, I was typically playing the Hedgeless Horseman or my don't with the hybrid system of 50 here. I'm going to place the 50 out there and hope for a long roll. Either way, I wasn't losing money. Occasionally, I was making some money on some longer rolls. So the final one I'm going to talk about, which is where I got in a disagreement with this dealer I spoke about earlier in the video. So let me grab a lay button and an on button, and you guys tell me if this makes sense. Now, I had played this several times before this incident took place. So I'm putting 200 on the lay, giving them the vig, taking 40, putting on the hard 4, telling the dealer, oops, got this backwards, telling the dealer that I'm on, and I would have a $25 don't pass with $1 or $2 up there on the yo. Yo comes, I'm making $5. 7 comes, I'm getting paid 100 there. I'm losing 25 here. I'm losing 40 there. I've got the VIG and the $2. It's a wash. Okay, no problem. So I got to the point where every time I was shooting, it's just me and this old guy. I was playing this strategy almost every time early on. 25, 200 over there, 40 on the hard 4, and a $2 yo. So at one point I put it out there. This doesn't get turned on, and the dealer, the hard 4 came. She took my lay down, and we had the argument. So now later on in the week, same dealer that I had a problem with this strategy. This is the squeeze 4. And by the way, real quick, the squeeze 4 is, let's say the point becomes a 9, okay? You have 125 to work with. I run a come progression, it gives me 125. What I was doing basically is coming out there with something like this. So I realized that this is 120 here. I understand that. And then I was doing 5 on the 5 just to catch it, just so that I would have something on the 5. And because the 10 was cheap, I was catching the 10, and I didn't have to play the field. And that's how I played my squeeze 4. If I hit the 6 or the 8 right off the bat, I had my flat rate that I could come up with 10, 20, 30, 44 across, take the lay 4 down, now it's 54, and I'm making $70. So the squeeze 4, you just run the lay until you establish whatever base rate it is. $5 table could have been 10, 20, 30, $32. It could have been that you could have won. You didn't have to go up to this level. But anyway, I run 3 come progressions, and they could rotate in and out just like the hedgeless horseman. It's all the same philosophy when it gets to that. And what happened was later on in the week, that same dealer, either I confused her or she was pissed at me because I had this confrontation with her by her hitting the hard 4, taking my lay down, and not paying me my $280, where they paid me the $280, but they took my $200 down. So later on in the week, I had changed up my strategy, what I was doing, and I wasn't laying the 4. I was just coming out with a straight, because I was up a straight $75 don't. And when the point got established, I was laying down my money, and I put the money out there, and she wanted to do like this. She wanted to come down, and she wanted to, and then she get here and she say, $10 more, $10 more, you're not giving me enough, you're not giving me enough. And so I would tell her, no, I don't want the point. No, you're not giving me enough. So the box lady, her name was Chris, the one I talked about earlier, she knew what I wanted. So here's where the trouble started. And I think that on a land-based casino, you would see something different. The box lady pushed the dealer out of the way. She made my bet right. Let me go ahead and cap this. And she gave me my change. This is the $10 that the lady wanted. And so anyway, she go, no. And she shifted it all around, and she said, $10 more, you say this. And Chris would go, the box lady would go back and put it back the right way. And I picked up my $10, and the lady snatches the $10 out of my hand. Guys, this was the night that I took the 600 to 1350. I was late for a show, and I had my chips in the rail, and I said, look, and I was shooting, okay? I've got money down here on the line, which I was able to take back, but I had ATS money up, and I had committed one of my come bets was a contract bet, was committed from the previous point that I had hit. So I just said, look, I said, Chris, I took my rack, the whole chips, and I stacked them just like this. I'm surprised they didn't fall over because I was mad. And I said, I'm cashing in, I'm passing the dice, I'm done, just let me go. And then she goes, no, you can't do that. Chris pushed her out of the way again, and she picked up all the chips, handed them back to me. She said, oh, sir, you understand that you still have chips in play. I said, if anything wins, give it to the dealers. I'm done playing. I don't understand why you're allowing this dealer to talk to you that way. When I said that dealer rolled her eyes. Ellison came over and wanted to know what the problem was. The lady, Chris, said something to her. He pushed the dealer to the side, and they made it right for me. They actually, get this, guys, they actually pulled the contract bet off of the 8 or the 6 and gave it back to me when they didn't have to. I was mad. I probably should have gave it to the dealers. I did not give it to the dealers. I just walked off because they knew that I was coming back. At this point, guys, I had some of Carnival's casino money. They wanted to make sure that I came back. As I was walking off, I looked at Chris and I said, I don't know how you can let a dealer talk to you that way when you're the boss. And I walked away, and I got a new subscriber out of it because I played with a female, nice young lady named Sue. And she got to witness my aggravation over the fact that we all know that dealers get to the point where they're new or they get confused. I understand there was a language barrier. I was wrong for the way I acted. It's poor table etiquette. The moral of the story is talk to the box lady, make sure they understand. Even the stick man knew what I was trying to do. Why that lady argued with me, I'm going to just chalk it up to not being a land-based casino and not having the rules and regulations and personnel policies that they have in place on land-based casinos in the U.S. Hey guys, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. And let me walk back over here to the camera and come back on camera with you. And I'm going to tell you that just wrap this up real quick. That's my trip report. I'm going to be rolling out some more new strategies coming to Whalen. I've got 3 strategies that he's given me with some options. I was curious to see last night that John started doing the 4 and 10 over at Pro Craps. Square Pair had done that almost about a month ago, and I had rolled out the Whalen's Way 4, 5, 9, and 10. He's got a couple twists in that. I've got my own twist coming out. Hey guys, if you have a strategy that you want rolled out, I'll be glad to do it. I know a lot of YouTubers are doing it. I'll work with you. I'll bring you on through Skype, phone call, whatever. We can work it out together. Mail them to midatlanticcraps@gmail.com. I'd be glad to take that. Also, if you would, please remember, if you haven't yet, to hit that red subscribe button. Ding, ding. Ring that bell for future notifications, because coming up early next year, we're going to be doing some things that's going to give you an opportunity to play with me live in a casino, as well as several other Craps Nation players, members that play in the Mid-Atlantic area of the East Coast. And with that said, I'm going to leave that little teaser there. I appreciate everybody staying tuned. If you stayed to end, hear the rest of this trip report, I'll be back later in the week starting to do some rollouts, some new strategies that some of my subscribers have given me. Hey guys, I appreciate everything you did to grow by 1/3 of subscribers. It's not a lot to you, it is to me. Thank you very much. I hope the channel continues to grow, and I'm going to bring you some content. As I said before, I'll never monetize my channel. I'm going to continue to do what I can do for you the way that I've done it. 42 minutes, guys. We are out of here now. Till next time. Hey, this is Jeff at Mid-Atlantic Craps. Be safe and play smart.